Fine. Let's see.
Is this working?
Hit that old refresh button. Whoa.
It still says up and coming.
Yeah, it still says up
Oh,
and
no,
coming.
no. We're live.
We're live?
Yeah.
Yes.
I clicked it. It says we're live.
Are you
I don't see
lying?
anything.
I'm not lying.
Oh, no, we're live. We're live. We're live.
That was weird. Okay. Hello. 3, 2, 1.
Hi.
Welcome to Batyard's Finest, bringing you the finest of Batman and Superman and more in pop culture. From Metropolis, I am Josh from Batyard Productions. Here I am with my co-host, Go in order.
As always, I'm the resident Green Lantern from Oa Jerry and the guy in the hat.
Hey, I'm Matt from Gotham. How you guys doing?
He was going to say Star Labs. We caught him in the trap.
No.
Why did you do it? So, today's topics for today are Smallville Pilot and Superman animated series New Kids in Town. Not New Kids on the Block. I said New Kids on the Block.
Cool if it was
I was wrong. And I'm glad they're not in this episode. So, we're going to continue on with BSBS, the segment of the show where we talk about BSBS, Batman, Superman, or pop culture news. So, you guys have anything you want to get out there?
I don't have anything right now. I haven't really seen anything like that's really noteworthy just yet. I know I have a news article related to one of the topics for tonight, and I think that's going to be a very interesting conversation piece.
Okay. All right, we'll save that. I guess that's part of what I was going to say about the show too. So, all right, Matt, what do you have?
I really don't have anything that other than like other news that's been floating around, like everyone else has been talking about, including like I can't really talk about certain things because we're gonna be saving it for another shit.
Yeah,
thing,
so let's just state it now. We are going to do The Flash and Spider-Verse. We're going to do a full review of both those movies next week. With all of us. Hopefully, we get another person on with us, to be announced. So I just want to say, quick thoughts. Matt and I seen the Flash movie. It was better than I expected it to be, and that's all I'm really going to say. Matt, is there anything you want to add?
Batman. That's all.
Yes, Batman. All right, so we're gonna move on. So what else?
Since we have so little BS, what if we give them kind of like an idea of what's going on behind the screen on our end? Maybe we could kind of switch it up, talk about some projects or ideas we want to throw out there, and see how people feel about them. I don't know. I just feel like I just feel weird not having BS.
Do something. Yeah. Okay. So things are up and coming for Batyard Productions. So we have the Ghost interview, which I was planning on releasing that tomorrow, but I don't think I'll have time. But that should be coming out pretty soon. What's the other thing? And we have the Comic-Con.
We have
the free comic book.
Mm-hmm.
We also have the fan film that's being shown early in November.
No.
Yes. So the Batman v Superman film that we've been working on for a while has official release date, November 17th. It's going to be shown in Icon for the first time in person. So we're going to do that. We're probably going to have another showcase of the movie at a comic book shop in Hyde Park, New York. On the name, help me out.
Alternaverse.
Alternaverse. Yeah,
Alternaverse.
I was close.
Venue. And then at some point we'll put it on YouTube, but we'll figure out the specifics. And for you, those who are watching or those who are at all interested, please, feel free to watch it, review it. You could even say it's the worst thing ever. Just talk about it. I don't really care. As long as the people are talking about it, that's all I really care about. So that's what's going on with the Batyard universe. I feel like there's something else I want to say. So Matt's birthday's tomorrow.
Yes, it
that's
is.
big news. And I was gonna say this. So Matt did a post for my birthday, right? For on the Instagram. And then I was like, oh good, he's gonna do a post for Jerry, so I'll know when
I got
Jerry's
locked
birthday
out.
is. And then he didn't fucking do it, and I was like, fuck. What, Jerry, I'm sorry. I know I missed your birthday. Happy birthday. And honestly, I still don't know when the day was. I just knew it happened. And I was really hoping for Matt to do that.
So this is what happened.
Now I'm damned if I do, if I damned if I don't. So if I do post about Matt's birthday tomorrow, then I'm an asshole because we never said anything about Jerry. But if I don't, then I'm an asshole because Matt said something about my birthday. So what do we do, Matt? How do we solve this problem?
There's a secret thing that I have in the pipeline about that. And I'm not going to reveal anything yet.
Okay.
In case it doesn't work out.
I was going to do a post for Jerry, but I got a new phone in the mail literally that day, and I was still setting up all my accounts. And as I was setting up my accounts for the freaking Instagram, it wiped Batyard's production off my phone, so I had to re-log in. So I had to ask for when I was asking for you on that account.
So that was the day when you were asking for the account. Now I have to look through the messages. God damn it, Matt. I was really bagging on that. I was like, okay, good. Matt's gonna post something. We'll say happy birthday to Jerry. And then it didn't happen. I was like, oh fuck, I know I totally missed it. So happy birthday, Jerry. We're going to celebrate Jerry's birthday tomorrow, not Matt's.
I'm fine with that. Why not? I don't care.
So I just wanted to clear the air with that. I did want to say that. That was my only BS I actually did want to talk about.
I know we've talked about it before. I just want to put it back in the air about us, kind of doing an audio recording of our own radio show.
Mm-hmm.
Was I know, obviously, in the text messages and before we go live, we talk about it. But I'm sure some of the listeners and viewers at home, because we're also now on Spotify, everybody. Don't forget that. You can now listen to us.
On Spotify. Yes. Episodes are coming out on Spotify. At some point, we will be on track where an episode is going to be recorded live on YouTube, and then an episode will probably be released next day or within the next couple of days. We're trying to get back on track, we're laying the tracks down as the train is rolling right now. So that's kind of how we work at Batyard Productions. The train is coming.
And it, I know I've been practicing doing, some little small tidbits of, kind of vocal ranges for, should we make it happen, because, trying to get audio recordings and, have a timely schedule of when people can, be free is kind of hard to do right now, especially, over the summer with all of us being busy. But I know, well, obviously we didn't get a chance to do it, but we've passed 100 episodes. And so I have something special in mind that I wanted to do for the podcast that I do all on my own, and I just show it to you guys, and then we could upload that as our 100th episode special, so to speak.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say what it is. I know Matt is waiting to see what this could be.
Chaos.
I am very intrigued. I know we should count because we do have 2 recordings of the Exorcist episode, but I count that as one episode.
We just split it up.
Yeah, it's a 2-parter.
But yeah, that's a 2-part episode. I'm trying to edit that down so it's one video and then post that on YouTube. But it's
I think having it as 2 separate videos works pretty good. So that way,
if you guys are fine with that, all right. It'll be at least one podcast for the Spotify. Once it's on streaming, once it's an audio version, it'll be one thing. So we're not just on Spotify. We're on like Podbean and a bunch of other crap. I don't know. Wherever you can find podcasts, you can find us. And if you guys have any questions, we'll feel free to like let us know. And like we had one question about how Superman would be incorporated into the Dark Knight universe. We're thinking about doing that as a bonus podcast because I kind of wrote out a whole outline, and
He wrote a
that's
fucking
going to
script.
take a lot of time.
He wrote a
I also
script.
have like an extensive just mental note on not just how I'd add Superman into the Dark Knight, but how I'd also incorporate a couple of other members from the JL into it as well. Even if so far as like a cameo, so to speak.
Yeah,
but just
I mean,
put
like
them in the universe.
Yeah, everyone's story is going to be very different, and I'm looking forward to how everyone's going to incorporate these characters into the Dark Knight universe. I mean, we're all going to have a different twist, so I feel like that's going to be kind of its own big bulk, and that's going to be its own episode. Yeah, and like Jerry was saying with Superman, the radio show, we're talking about basically taking the comic books, like the early issues of Superman, and converting those into radio broadcasts. So if there's any audience members at home who wants to join in on the fun, there's going to be a bunch of different characters. So like if you have any interest at all, feel free to let us know. And we're definitely going to contact people on Instagram, try to get different voices in there.
Yeah. Shoot us, like a DM on our Batyard account or on our personal social accounts, which we should also probably link, just so it, in case they can't reach us on one, they can at least reach one of us on another.
Yeah, you could either comment on the YouTube, or probably the easiest would be on their Instagram, either Batyard Finest Pod or Batyard Productions, either one of those. Yeah, and what else we got going on, Matt? You haven't said anything.
Because you guys have been carrying the whole freaking thing. Not gonna lie, Jesus. But what's it called? Next was on the July 1st to the 4th. I'm gonna be in California, hanging out at the Anime Expo, and
that's
Los Angeles.
That's coming up.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be hanging out there with my friend Bill, me and Jerry's friend Billy, and we'll be walking around for at least the 4 days. If you guys want to hang out and talk, I'm gonna be there. Just send us a message in the Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Matt's gonna be doing the interviews. He's gonna be solo, so be very kind to him and give him hugs and give him all the support he needs.
Oh God, I'm gonna need a support person.
Yeah, we're working on also like getting more guests on the podcast. So like we've been getting a bunch of cosplayers. Hopefully, we could get more people in the industry as well. I know we're all kind of working on that. So there's definitely some stuff to look forward to on the Batyard. It's just shooting it out and getting it out there. We got this big movie that's coming out. So like honestly, like most of my attention's on that. I haven't really been able to focus on the smaller projects and the videos, like the monthly stuff. So that's a conversation we're gonna have probably after the podcast. Figure out all that. So yeah, that's what you guys got to look forward to. It's kind of fun. We never really talk about this stuff on like the podcast, so it's good to let the audience know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always good to kind of switch it up a little bit. And I know BSBS, the segments, fun for us to kind of go back and forth with some witty jokes. And, sometimes it does turn into, some serious conversation. But I think, it's always nice to just kind of, open the journal and let everybody see what kind of ideas we have written down and what plans we have holding into the near future.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
But I like to keep my journal private.
Bonus podcast as well. Wait, what, Matt?
I like to keep my journal private. I'm joking.
No, it's open.
Yeah, Matt.
It's an open book.
Get off my journal.
Matt has a little black book. Big Booty Dandy says, "Let me know how In-N-Out Burger is." Matt, you have to go now.
Oh yeah, because Los Angeles has In-N-Out Burger.
Oh God! All right, I'll see if there's one nearby.
Since you're going to Los Angeles, Corey from Corey from The Burbs, who we interviewed,
Oh yeah.
said that we could get a free tour with him. But you weren't on the show, so I don't know. I don't know if that'll
I'm
work.
sorry.
I feel like it would work.
He might say no
I've
to
been
you. But Jerry and I got the end.
All right. So
I
that means
definitely
that
have been following his tours that he's been posting. It looks like it's really, really nice.
Yeah. Corey Danziger, by the way, he plays Tom Hanks' son in The Burbs, in the movie The Burbs, and he has a bunch of other acting credits such as Star Trek: The Next Generation and Beethoven, and a bunch of other stuff from like the '90s, and very, very good stuff. Definitely check him out. He definitely has stuff going on. So especially
Very, very good
his
dude.
tours going on. Yeah, especially his tours going on in Los Angeles area, which Matt isn't invited to. We're trying to get Matt on the interviews, but he doesn't want to come on. So like, pester him, keep bugging him. Go like, hey Matt, we want you to do interviews.
I understand.
I'm gonna sneak him in for one interview, and I'm gonna disguise it as an episode, and he'll never know.
Yeah, that's
You're
good.
evil.
Yeah.
Well, like I feel like it's like like me and Jerry like have our freaking what's it called? Me and Jerry do our live streams with our friend Jimmy. Sometimes our friend Steve and our friend Billy on PlayStation. We posted one or two of them. We had one with Josh on it recently, playing Evil Dead. What's it
I
called?
feel like the Evil Dead, we need a whole crew. I think.
Next time we will.
That
It was
definitely
just poor
adds to
timing.
the excitement and
Yes.
chaos.
It
But,
does.
like,
It does. Like the first time we played was definitely more fun than the one we
Mhm.
recorded.
So me and Jerry have our time, like with like that stuff. Like I feel like this is like you and Jerry's like solo like travels.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. But like, you should come on at least a few of them.
Okay, I'll hop on the next ride, whatever you guys are doing.
Danger Penguin gave us eyes. They're watching you, man.
We do have beautiful eyes, all of us.
Wait,
If you didn't know, Josh's eyes actually change with the season.
I don't think they do.
Josh, this is a lie. We're trying to lie to him.
I had to think about it. I'm like, oh, maybe they do. And then
Oh my God!
It was an elaborate lie, Josh.
Because I know people's eyes do that. I think my siblings, like my sister's eyes and my brother's eyes, they change. So I was like, maybe mine do. I don't think they do. So it was a legitimate thing.
It's a weird thing. They do have like certain people like have like the little eye changing due to like sometimes like of the lighting like of the day. You have a different like color tone to your eyes. Usually, I know like it's funny.
Yeah.
It's freaking weird. I know like
I have a friend and all of her daughter's eyes do that. They have like blue eyes, but like when they're in the sunlight in certain like seasons, it'll turn like crystal like clear blue. It's almost terrifying because just how just blue their eyes turn. And I told her one day, I was like, good night. You got the people y'all have some, and I said your eyes are just incredibly blue right now.
Then you got the people that just wear freaking contacts. You never know what freaking eye color they have until you catch them slipping that one day.
Did I ever tell you guys the time that I wore colored contacts out in public?
No.
So I'm going to regale everyone with a story of my youth. When I was still a young lad and new to the world, I decided one day to just wear, because me and some other friends, that friendship just dissolved in a very bad way, but that's neither here nor there. But we were trying to record our own film, and one of the props that we all wanted to do were like, oh, we should do colored contacts to, for some of the different scenes we wanted to do. And so everybody wanted to do something, that would make them stand out loud. One guy, he had contacts that turned his pupils into stars. another guy got green contacts, so you could kind of more be like, his eyes, look like they're kind of, changing and, doing something different, like he's gonna Hulk out in a sense. And then the only contacts left that I could buy were just pure solid white zombie ones. And so I was like, you know what? Why not? It's not like it's gonna turn into a big thing. It turned into the hugest thing. I absolutely had people like stop me and say, like, oh my God, those contacts are just so freaky. And then like I did this thing where like I made my eyelids just all perfectly balanced. And I had just this intense stare and gaze into people. And people ask me like, am I an extra in a movie? Have I ever like done any like, small time acting, of course. I was like, no, we're just doing something for fun. And then I even had one person say that she thought they were very attractive and she wanted to take a picture of me. And I thought that was kind of weird, but I'm not going to go way even further past that because some weird things started happening too. Because I slept with them in and I'm like, oh no, I slept with these in. I'm going to get an eye infection and I'm going to go blind.
Oh my gosh. So were you wearing these like for a project you and your buddy were doing, or were you just wearing them for fun?
At the time we were wearing them for fun because we haven't, like, I used to wear contacts like when I was much, much younger, but I got out of it because my vision basically has stayed the same since I started wearing glasses and getting my eyes checked. So I was like, I don't need to get contacts anymore. I'll just stick with glasses. And so, it was, I think legitimately, it was probably like 8 or so years after I had stopped wearing like prescribed contacts. I just picked up those non-prescription ones. And so, I had to relearn like, okay, I have to learn how to touch my eye again. I got to make sure I carry me some eye drops so my eyes don't dry out. And, just the other small bits that they tell you about contacts. Make sure you don't sleep with them. If you get dust or pollen or any kind of, irritant in there, don't rub them because then you'll rub them the wrong way and it'll scratch your eye. And then you run the risk of, damaging your corneas and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So it was, to say the least, I think we did end up recording maybe 25 to 30 minutes of actual use with the contacts. But, like I said, that friendship just kind of dissolved and that footage is lost to the sands of time now. But that's neither here nor there, or I care, because I'm in a much more better co-host relationship with two amazing friends. And we have an amazing fan film that's going to be released with a special surprise, potentially, maybe, to be discussed at a later date.
Yeah, well, we all have a scene in the movie, so that's
Yes, we
very
do.
excited for that. Just I have a quick little color contact story, and then we'll move on. For the movie that we made,
Oh, God.
I decided to get color contacts for the effect for Superman, like his laser eye vision. So I put in the red contacts, and my eyes were burning; they were on fire, and then like my eyes got bloodshot, and then literally you probably see it for like one frame. You're not even gonna be able to. If you really like pause the movie, you'll be able to tell I have red color contacts. But, like it was literally like one scene, and like we never did it again.
Yeah, I
And it
remember. Yeah, I
and it makes sense
remember.
that we didn't need it anymore. We're like, why did we do this? Go
I
ahead, man.
remember how hyped you were. I remember how hyped you were. Like, dude, I have freaking contacts, so I look like I'm doing freaking laser beams and shit. So we do the edits and everything, and I'm like, okay, awesome. Like, how many times are we doing this? And you're like, I don't know, but I got him, and then like that's it. and
I
like you
was
said,
very excited.
you
Yeah,
were,
there's
and then
a lot of like experimentation with this movie. So I was like, oh yeah, we'll do red contacts for literally one shot, right? So
Definitely people who wear, colored contacts for any kind of like film or, any type of just media project where you have to have them in for several hours, that crap's not easy. And Crispy, tip your hat to him. I'm not wearing a hat right now. Audio listeners, I'm not wearing a hat, so Crispy's tipping his hat to him. You guys are the real MVPs because the first time I did it, I could not keep my eyes open for I think maybe more than a minute without just my whole eyes just like watering profusely, like I was crying.
Yeah.
It was, I'll never forget it. It was like Josh said, my eyes were just bloodshot. It looked like I went on a 3-day like vodka binge. I didn't have any water and I was just drinking soda, just nothing hydrating.
No.
It was an experience. If you wear colored contacts, you know that exact feeling.
Were the ones that you were wearing like pure white? So like it was just like a white eye.
So it was like where my the brown in my eyes are, like all of that was just kind of the same color white as my my regular eye. And so it kind of looked like, oh, I just have pupils and nothing else. I think I threw them away. I don't have them anymore.
Okay. I was imagining like the Evil Dead contact eye lenses where it's just like all pure white. You know, that's what I was like.
I did try those on at the same con I told stories about, and it was like I had like the lens for that is so big, I could not just like get it to fit any kind of way because it this particular one, like it covered the entire eye to where I couldn't see anything. And I was like, the lady saw me do it and she was like, if you can't do it, don't worry about it. This is just, a tester that I hand out to people to see if they can make it happen or not. And that was the worst pain I have ever experienced. I kept like jabbing myself under the eyelid.
So the one that she has tested out, like people tested out, like were multiple people putting in the same contact?
No, it was like some just
disposable?
extra samples that they had. They were disposable.
Oh,
well, not so much disposable, but it was some that they had had plenty of back stock on. So like if people didn't buy it, it wasn't like a huge deal or anything.
I see. Okay, I was like thinking like it was like multiple uses.
No, I definitely should have clarified that.
Okay. That makes sense. I think I don't think we actually announced this on the show, but I was in Nashville like a couple months ago, and Jerry and I collided. The worlds collided, and we actually got to meet in person. Matt and Jerry already had their encounter, so I had our encounter in Nashville on his home base, and Matt kind of had it in New York at Nolan's home base because Nolan lives in New York City. But it was the same state.
It was a meeting point.
It was,
and I was going to go to that one, but it was during Easter, and I was like,
it was a weird timing.
We immortalized ourselves in a high score on an arcade machine that, unfortunately, I told you this, off screen, but the bar did close down. So literally, like the week after you came, they said, we're closing our doors, and thank you for. I think they said they've been open for 7 or 8 years of business. No, it's been longer than that. I think maybe 9, maybe 9.5. It's very close to 10.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like the most happening spot like in Nashville. Like I wouldn't go there to pick up girls, but if you're going there to hang out with some buddies, like that's the place to go.
And
that was fun.
There's another spot that's just like that, but it's lined wall to wall with arcade machines and pinball tables. And I want to take you guys there because it's literally like just pick whatever you want. They have all the old school fighters, all the even they have asteroids, Dig Dug. I think they swapped it out. They don't have Pong anymore because they used to have Pong on a machine. And I'm like, how did you manage to find an old Pong machine? So it was this place that I go to infrequently is definitely going to be more everybody's speed because there's a little bit of something for everybody.
We're going to need a lot of
We'll
quarters.
definitely plan a trip. We'll figure something out where like we get the three of us in one location at the same time. That'll be good.
Joke's on you, Crispy. You don't need quarters except for the pinball machines.
So
yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
You know, you still can't gamble. The whole reason that they stopped using quarters for pinball machines is because it's a form of gambling.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I did hear that somewhere.
Because it was my old lead man at my job. He back in the day, he used to frequent arcades and he'd go play pinball and a couple of things. And he said he had a guy that he knew that take his whole paycheck, like I think it was, well, this was back in the day, so it was I don't even remember how much he said, but I think he said he took like $20 worth of quarters to go play on some pinball machines, and I think he hit for like $50 in like tokens or whatever. And he just said like he was hooked on the machine.
So
and I'm like,
wizard?
I would just go to play pinball because I'm not the best pinball player, but I've always been pretty decent. I've set a couple of high scores on some machines.
Yeah, Jerry and I were playing these arcade games, and Jerry kicked my ass in like every game. I think I might have won.
Exaggeration.
I was like, all right, I retired. I'm done. We're playing Marvel versus Capcom. That was like the one we were playing, and like I think I won once, and we played like 10 times.
I was button mashing to no end. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't played Marvel versus Capcom in so long. I'm like, you can just feel the machine shaking from how hard I'm punching buttons.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing, and I was losing.
It just sounds like Josh. Like,
I think the one time I won, Jerry gave it to me. He's like, "All right, I feel bad. Let me give him one."
I was trying my hardest. I wanted to win.
It just feels like Josh just like is like, all right, I'm coming back out of retirement, just have some fun tonight. Why not? And then Jerry's like, back into retirement.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good time.
It was definitely a lot of fun. I look forward to the next time when we all can officially have all of us together in one space.
Yeah, that'll be good. We'll definitely plan a trip. Like, I think Matt going to Nashville, I think you definitely need to see like what Nashville is all about.
There is a ramen spot I want to take him to that has these Godzilla figures that I always send him and brag about whenever I go. And he's like, I'm going to go there and I'm going to steal all those Godzillas. I'm going to do it here. They have Godzilla figures that I can't find anywhere else.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, Matt would be all about that. Like, I definitely want to go to the Frank Sinatra place. I know we didn't get a chance to go to that, so that'll be good.
I've been seeing,
we definitely have to plan it.
I've seen videos and a couple of photos from there. It's definitely a nice looking bar. I definitely want to go there at least one time.
Yeah, I think that's like you have to at least go once. But we'll figure all that out behind the scenes. I think we should get into the main topics. Unless Matt, you have anything to say? You've been pretty quiet over in your corner.
I'll stay in my corner, damn it.
Yeah, laughing at us this whole time. You can't see it if you're listening to this on audio, but me and Josh just going back and forth talking about the arcade fights. He's just been laughing hysterically.
I'm gonna stay in my little damn corner. All I want my little corner.
So we're gonna move on to Jerry, you have something?
Oh, I was just gonna say the same thing, but we're gonna move on. This is just us just goofing around and talking now.
Yeah, we're just talking. Yeah, we're just goofing now. But like, okay, we're gonna move on. We're gonna get to the start of today's episode. New Kids in Town. The third episode of the third season of Superman animated series originally aired October 31st, 1998. And I want Matt to take this one for the synopsis.
Okay, so with this episode of Superman animated series, let me bring up the name again because I want to call it the New Kids on the Block, the New Kids in Town. It takes place the beginning episode takes place about 1,000. I believe like 1,000 years into the future. Brainiac ends up going backwards, hijacks a time machine to go back in time, ends up going back in time to when Clark was basically in high school and tries to kill him off. Meanwhile, there is a team of kids that actually decide to go back in time to actually stop Brainiac so he doesn't destroy what will be the future. And as he's going through, we get to see young Superman, aka Clark Kent, making his way downtown, not knowing what he actually can do with his powers. So they actually are trying to keep him on the right path of like not trying to have him do like get killed off by Brainiac and not have him give away his powers at the same time. It's like it's weird. It's a little weird scenario with this whole thing, but these three kids are trying to keep him like protected the whole time until Superman actually decides to destroy him, and they get to destroy Brainiac, and they end up sending Brainiac basically into the sun with his portal device that he has.
Spoilers.
I'm so sorry. This is an old fucking show. I wish I could do a better synopsis, but it feels weird because like it's like it's just like this episode is like it just like it's more of a like a protection. Welcome back, host. And it's like it's really just a protection. Like they're literally these 3 kids. I really don't remember their names though. They're new to me in general with these 3 kids that go back in time after Brainiac to stop him from killing Superman as a kid, and they're like it's just they're really trying
they're the Legionnaires. They're from like like 1,000 years in the future.
They're in a training academy.
Yeah. So you've never seen the Legionnaires in the rings before?
No.
Matt?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, like, there's not really much to really. I mean, you know they're from the future and they're sent back in time to help Clark Kent. That's all you really need to know.
Yeah, it's
like
basically that's. But this is like weird with this episode because I've never really seen a Clark Kent be a dick. In this one, he's like a dick because like a lot of times you see Clark Kent, he's more like to himself, or he's just a genuine like nice person, or they have him actually like what's it called? Have him in his like disguise where he's actually not more like that's just a normal person. He doesn't really have like the physique of Superman. Sometimes we have like weird different like styles of him, but this one's like I'd never really see him just be like jockey in the beginning, like as a kid. Like, and they give him the glasses in this episode too that make him disguise himself, and even him like saying like, "This really doesn't help." Like it's just glasses.
This well, anyone. Yeah. There's the first confrontation where like he's at like a high school dance and he's with Lana, and then he's trying to show off, and like this kid. I want to call him Flash, but he's not Flash.
He's Flash Thompson.
Yeah, I want to say Flash Thompson, but it's not. It's Penny Braverman, and then they like he gets up to Clark. And he's like, we'll do 1-to-1 basketball right here, right now, anytime. And he's like, okay. And Clark's like holding the basketball, and Kenny's trying to rip it out of his hand, and Clark's just like. Deliberately doing super speed in front of everyone, and no one questions it. Like he's just like, "Yup, I'm here, I'm here." And then like he like takes after Kenny grabs the basketball, he just like whips him around and throws him at like the punch bowl table. And then Lana's like, "Wow, you're an asshole, Clark." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean it. I don't know my full strength." And I like how they kind of showed, Clark hasn't really developed his persona. He doesn't have the split personality really yet of like Clark Kent and then Superman. He's still a teenager, so he still kind of like has his hormones going through developmental stages, and like he's like, yeah, I just want to be cool. I don't care, But like obviously he's still like kind of concealing his powers a bit, but he doesn't have like like the glasses and the whole suit and like all that. And I like that. I kind of like how like Clark's like. He kind of he develops to become the person, the good natured person that he's like going to develop into. So yeah, I think this episode's awesome. Basically, it gave me like a Terminator 2 vibe. I was like, oh, this, I kind of wish I put this with Terminator 2. That would have been a good back to back. But I was like, oh, whatever.
The way they did Brainiac was
in high school.
The way they designed Brainiac as he lost like parts of his face and stuff, he definitely started giving you like a freaking Terminator look.
Yeah, I thought that was
Anything.
Without a doubt.
cool. Like how they could really like damage him. Like they don't really hold back with Brainiac, like, and they could throw him in the sun, burns up. Like he's technically a robot, so like, it's not like a human, so they could like really brutally,
They can annihilate him.
It's pretty cool.
I like Brainiac. Like I'm not gonna lie. After that kid that Clark Kent like messed up during basketball, Brainiac meets him at that diner, and then he beats the shit out of him at the diner and his friends. There's the part where he like chucks his friends on the ground in front of the diner, and then you got the gas tank falling and everything. You don't see the friends get back up, and you don't see them run away, and all that stuff happens, and it blows up and shit. And I'm just like, well, they're dead. They're dead.
Yeah,
in my
like
head,
Brainiac picked up,
right now.
when Brainiac picked up Flash Thompson and threw him through the fucking sign,
I know
he should have died.
I know.
Like, there's no situation where that's a viable survivability.
No.
Maybe, if he just kind of landed up top and just broke some ribs, but he was there all night. So even if his ribs were broken, he'd have a punctured lung and he would have died of blood loss.
I would assume his head would be a little bit fucked up also. Neck would
he'd
be
have
broken.
whiplash.
He would have a whole bunch of more than that. Like,
I like with that character with Kenny, like, when he's at the diner and like Brainiac walks in, he's like, "Oh, check out Darth Vader," and he's like, "K Pasa, man, take a wrong turn at Tatooine," and then fucking Brainiac just like kicks the shit out of him. Like, I thought that was like a great little moment. I like that line. Like, I like how they like reference Star Wars too. And it made
I wasn't expecting that.
It did make sense because that's like another scene that I really like toward the end when Martha and Jonathan were, and Lana were in the basement. Well, not the basement, the storm cellar, and Jonathan had the shovel. And he's like, "I'm gonna go take care of business," and Martha was like, "You're not doing anything with the shovel. You know what to get." And then fucking they hop out of the cellar with each one of them has a double barrel shotgun. And I'm like, yes, being smart for once. Yes. And they're fucking blasting them. They got like 3 clean hits on them.
I wasn't expecting.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting the bomb to come out the shotgun either. I thought it was just
I like that.
Yeah, I was like, obviously he's gonna be Jonathan because he's got the the bulk and everything to get the kickback.
Yeah.
And then Martha came out and she fucking blasted Brainiac too. I'm like, this is awesome.
He came out like a badass.
I forgot how good this is.
Yeah, no, I thought that was great. And like obviously, they're living on a farm, so they're gonna have to deal with like predators, like going after the livestock and everything. So like it makes sense that they're gonna have shotguns and be able to protect their own. And I thought that was cool. And like, what Matt was saying earlier about like Clark being like kind of a dick. I do kind of like that. Like I said, like he kind of is growing into his own. Like he doesn't really know exactly yet, like who he is. So he's
like you can tell he's still like, even though he's super powered, even at the core of it, he's still a hormonal teen. So like, when he was like having a little basketball one-off, he was like, well, he just fucking threw a glove at me. I have to go prove myself. I'm not no pansy. I got to show him. I got to one-up him essentially. And that even still kind of carried over into when he meets up with the Legionnaires. He's like, I don't know shit about you guys. You guys are fucking weird. I'm out of here.
I did like that. And then they're like, yeah, we know we're kind of strange. You're like, and he's like, yeah, you're kind of freaky, He basically just like says it to their face, like they're fucking weird. And I love that. Whoa. And then the one line I love too, like right after Brainiac like is shocking the hell out of Clark, and he's like, I don't know who you are, and like Brainiac calling him Kal-El, and he's like, Kal-El, who the fuck is that? And he's like, he's getting all like electric shock, and then the Legionnaires come in, and then like after that he's like, oh, there's something in the punch, right? Like he thinks like something got spiked in the punch, like a robot from the future isn't coming. It's like more
he thought it was logical fucking LSD or something.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that was a cool line, and like obviously kids would maybe kind of understand that, but not really. You know, that's like more of a joke for the parents. And I thought that was kind of cool how they sprinkled that in. Like, if this was if this was live action, this would be like one of the fucking most.
It'd
like,
be the
awesome
funniest thing ever.
Yeah. Like I was thinking about that. Like with Superman, the animated series, if they like made these into movies, like everyone would think Superman's cool because like these fucking episodes are so great. Like it's like it like puts like Clark in different scenarios and different situations, and like you get to see different aspects of like where he grew up and you know him being all Superman. But, like I love the lore of like Brainiac. You know, like Brainiac coming in, he's just like I'm gonna fucking kill you early. Like I want you gone. I thought that was really cool.
If I get rid of you now, Kal-El, I can do world domination. Zap, 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 zap.
Yeah.
You remember when you fucking threw me in a black hole, Kal-El? Zap, 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 zap. Brainiac is literally the one kid that hates to lose, and he's always going to come back for another challenge.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It makes sense like Brainiac would have the technology to kind of time travel. And I like how it wasn't like a thing that was in the future. It was like Brainiac fucking with future technology, and then he made a wormhole. And then even the people from the future didn't understand like how it worked. Like it wasn't just like a technology that was there. It was like something Brainiac manipulated and made.
Yeah, they literally said like this is something that's well beyond even what we're capable of now. And it's almost the year 3000. And I'm like, you guys have flying cars. How do you not have time travel figured out yet? Which, you know, in retrospect is a really, you know, I like how it's a subtle nod and kind of shot at other sci-fi, you know, movies and shows like, oh, it's the year 3042. You know, we can time travel back to the age of the fucking dinosaurs in ancient Egypt and shit. And he's like, yeah, we don't know how this happened. And I don't know how to guarantee to bring you guys back. So if you go, you're really venturing into uncharted territory. So whatever happens just kind of happens. And try not to die, essentially, is what he said, because I can't do anything to help you on my end.
Okay, having Jerry explain that was better than the show a little bit.
Yes. That's what he said. He's like,
I mean, that's
Brainiac opened up this
like
magic hole.
On it. Yeah, it's not like you get lost in the concept with like this episode. Like understand, you understand everything that's going on. I mean, it might help if you've seen like the Brainiac episode, his initial encounter with Superman, but like you kind of get who the character is like from the beginning. I think even if you're just fresh and you just jumped into this, you know exactly what's going on. And plus, if you're jumped into like a fresh perspective, you're kind of with like where Clark is at that moment. You're like, who is this guy? Why is he trying to kill me? Kind of thing. So like, I think it works either way if you do know the backstory, if you're kind of just thrown into this episode. The one thing I wanted to say with the basketball scene, did it remind you of any other scene from any other media containing superhero? Because
Sky High.
There's no.
It reminded me of Sky High.
Fine too. Okay, that's fine too. I mean, that's a good movie. But you know, in the Amazing Spider-Man, the first Amazing Spider-Man, where he's playing basketball and he's holding the basketball, and then like Flash Thompson's trying to rip the basketball out of his hand. I'm like, they fucking verbatim stole that scene from this show. I was like, this is
I never watched Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, you didn't watch Amazing? Oh, God. You missed
I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. And it just,
it's
like, I watched the original 3 with Tobey Maguire, but, like, I didn't watch anything with Andrew Garfield. I watched, you know, obviously all of them with Tom Holland. I was like, Andrew Garfield, he... You know, seeing him, well, this is just a very quick thing that I'm going to just throw in and just throw back out. You know, I watched a little bit of it and I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. When I saw, you know, the first Amazing Spider-Man, but then when I saw Andrew Garfield in Tom Holland's third Spider-Man movie, whatever it was called, I can't remember. I'm like, okay, he's a good actor. He just had a very poorly written script.
Yeah, he had a bad script. I don't blame him at all. But like, that was like I was watching that scene. I was like, this is verbatim what they did in Spider-Man, they stole this scene. Like, they literally stole it. Like, there's no question in my mind. Like, I'm gonna put them back to back. I'm gonna put it on Instagram, and it's like, yeah, that's the fucking scene. Matt, what do you remember? Do you know what I'm
I
talking
know. I
about?
remember. After you said that, I remember now. The
I
freaking
thought you were
scene.
gonna make reference to the
No.
Sky High scene in the
No, no,
movie.
no,
No,
no, no, no, no.
I mean, I don't remember Sky High, so I mean that
Sky-
could be that. It could be another thing.
That's the first thing I thought of.
No, I vaguely remember the Sky High, but I can't say I remember 100%. I vaguely remember it.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
I think the Spider-Man like literally took the scene from the show. I'm gonna put it back to back. Like the Sky High was a little bit more original, I think, than that Spider-Man movie. So I don't know. I thought it was wild. So I'm gonna put that on Instagram, and you could make your own judgment. But I think it's the same scene. I guess we kind of ran down through the whole episode. Is there anything else you guys want to add? Like,
Yeah, there were some small tidbits I wanted to get in. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but in like certain frames and like very small clips, you know how the Legionnaires have their ring? I guess that lets them fly and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they first meet Clark, you can see like they wrap their hands like you can see visibly all 10 fingers, and the finger that they have the ring on, it's not there. Like they took it off real quick.
huh?
And I had to rewind it because I'm like, I know that the ring's there because I just saw it. And then when I rewound it, I'm like, oh, they must have just, removed it because I guess animation purposes and whatnot. And I was like, that was something I definitely just kind of caught at a random.
Yeah, I definitely didn't notice that.
Also, at the end, when the Legionnaires are going back to their timeline, and Chameleon says up and away, and then up walks Lana, and she's like, Clark, we're gonna be late to school. And she's like, what are you doing just standing here? And he's like, I don't know. What do you think of these glasses? And, and she's like, you're so weird.
Yeah.
I think that to me is the most teenage Superman essence thing ever. Yeah. Because that's just an awkward thing to, oh, hey, I just found these random glasses. Do they make me look smart? Like we all have,
I like that. I like that moment too. And then like it kind of like felt like kind of growing into his persona a little bit more. Like he's kind of developing the Clark Kent persona a little bit. And like in the beginning, he's getting his ass kicked by Brainiac, and then eventually he's like, you want me, Brainiac? Here I am. And then he starts beating the hell out of him. And like I love the silhouette when he's like punching him. And then like it reminded me of other episodes where like Superman is punching, and like it just looked like he was just Superman at that moment, especially with the silhouette. And I was like, okay, like he kind of like is developing into, the persona. And they even said, I think it was Chameleon Boy was like, he's not like how he was in history tapes. And then like once that moment happens, they're like, oh, I guess the history tapes weren't so wrong, So I thought that was a really cool moment, and like it kind of showed like he, has. He has his own. He can hold his own at that point, like he honestly, he probably could have taken on Brainiac. I mean, he might have probably lost, but it would have been very close.
It would have taken him a while, but I feel like he could have won.
Yeah.
Definitely, he would have had to have a couple more people to help him out. And it's just one final thing I just wanted to shout out. Definitely when he had the glasses on, this was also another end scene, and he took them off and he had the smile. If you like, I don't know if you guys really paid attention to it, but you can see, like the crease in his cheek. And that's the same crease he has when he's, an adult and he smiles and talks a lot.
Yeah.
So I think not think, but, obviously they used some of the same, cells and frames, from when he's an adult, and just kind of, I think this will just be a nice small thing to add on. And they just slapped it on at the end. I thought that was a nice, shout out saying he's growing. He's in the beginning baby steps, of being Superman. Because outside of being the cape, the S on the chest, the smile is always what Superman is known for, and those cheekbones. He's got good cheekbones.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, yeah, he definitely looks more like adult Clark Kent, but he's still like young looking. So.
There's one scene I do remember that's actually pretty funny to me too. When the Smith Chameleon, when he like makes himself look like freaking Superman, like older Superman, who's like, wearing the costume. He's like, this is what I look like, and I wear a red underwear on the outside of my
He's
suit.
like, now I know you're crazy. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
He hates his outfit for a second.
Yeah, this episode, like there's a lot going on, and it's contained in 20 minutes, but like it's self-contained, and like there's a lot going on. Like it sounds like we're talking about a whole movie, like how we're describing it, but it's just like one more episode. But it has like so much going on, and like so much detail, and like marination. Like it's great. I think it's awesome.
It had the right pickup tones. It wasn't so. It had the right tone for when they had to explain. Then once action comes in play, it gets fast, and you're like, all right, there's so much shit going on. I do feel bad for them, for Clark and his family, because they just destroyed all their freaking equipment.
Yeah,
they destroyed all their equipment.
All the damage for the farm. Like, are they gonna be able to pay for this? Because like, in like Smallville, the show that we're gonna get into, like they don't have a lot of money. Like if that happened in Smallville, like the show, they wouldn't be able to pay for any of that.
Because, like, I know it's not a superhero thing to do, but I hope the Legionnaires were like, they do need this equipment to survive. So I think we can do them a solid and borrow some new farm equipment,
Yeah, it's like they literally lost the barn and their truck in there. Then they lost the freaking backhoe and the freaking what was it?
That harvester
harvester.
I'm not a farmer.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know
Brainiac was trying to freaking like basically mulch him with the freaking harvester. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not dying. What the hell?
Yeah. All the action was pretty cool. I thought it was like really well executed. And like obviously Clark knows he has powers, but he doesn't know like the significance of them or like his strength level or anything. Like was stated with the basketball scene. But the thing Jerry was saying, like this kind of, they're referencing other sci-fi movies, like Terminator 2 was one, and then like when what's his name? Whatever the jock kid name is, Kenny. When Kenny says, when Kenny says like the Tatooine bit, like that reminded me of Back to the Future when they're referencing Darth Vader. When Marty McFly's in the hazmat suit, he's referenced as Darth Vader in that moment. So like they obviously took little bits from like other sci-fi movies, but like it's its own thing at the same time. And like obviously like someone who has this technology would obviously want to take out Clark Kent at a very young age. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think it's a cool, neat twist on it. And like it really makes you think like, like the most powerful being in this universe just grew up on a farm, like the most basic place like you could grow up. And I kind of like that. It just like really solidifies like his upbringing, especially for that show.
I don't know, it just feels weird. Like it kind of feels nice seeing that though. It's like it's a different pace instead of like having. Yeah. It's like it just doesn't feel right. Like we have so many freaking shows that like people are just like, he's been born and raised in this factory place where he learned how to use all of his abilities and all this shit, and he hasn't seen grass or anybody else.
Superman Red Sun.
Oh yeah, but that's.
Well, I mean, he kind of.
I was just
he had more
mad about it.
Well, he had like more freedom though, a little bit.
He did grow up on a farm in there. That's a whole different.
I'm just messing with Matt about it.
No, but that's a different scenario. But no, like it's like not like it's like kind of like a better like. There's a lot of stories that go that way with superheroes though. Like they're just like raised up in certain like places. Like you're like but
That's what I think. That's what the beauty of Superman is. Like, is literally like where he grew up. Like, he's the most powerful guy. He's an alien, but he grew up in the most simple place,
Well,
like, like imaginable. You
well,
know,
like think of when like
it's not like a factory or like he's instantly whatever.
well,
He's just kind of figuring it out. He's just a guy. He's just a farm
He's
kid
just a
who
simple
figures it
man
out.
with a simple dream.
well, like think about like when they actually made his comics back in that time. What was that like setup back then? Mostly like farm setups. A lot of like farms, small towns here in their cities.
Yeah, I was like, I mean,
Yeah.
small towns were like more a central basis of like Americana for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, like, there's obviously always going to be small towns. Like, it's not like farmers are going to go away. Like, so that's kind of why he kind of works in any time period, because like we're always going to need farm,
Hmm.
we're always going to need food. It's always going to be small town. It's not like I don't know. He was created in a lab or something. I think that's kind of like boring. I don't know. I think that works for a villain. I think created in the lab works for a villain.
It is, but it's so generically done now. It's like just boring,
Yeah.
though.
Mhm.
Like you said.
If anybody else is fine with it, I want to go ahead and get into my final thoughts and review.
Yeah, I was about to
Hmm?
say that. Go ahead.
It definitely rewatching this because it's I haven't watched particularly this episode for sure. I think since it aired in '98, it excuse me, it was it's fun to go back, especially seeing teenage Clark Kent and seeing him deal with a future problem as a young man. And honestly, I think, him fighting Brainiac, helped get, it showed like, okay, when push comes to shove, he's still in this essence. He's still going to always be Superman. He's going to try to, protect those around him. He's always going to try to find a way to make sure if anybody gets hurt, at least, it'll be him because he can take more than just a hit, if that makes sense in the context I'm saying it. And it was definitely all the sci-fi references, all the small details and things that they throw in are very nice. Brainiac isn't my favorite villain of Superman. I like Starro personally, but Brainiac always makes a very interesting episode because of he's either there to capture Superman or he's there to kill him or he's trying to manipulate something behind the scenes some kind of way. And this episode is a solid 8. I like all these episodes. It definitely is, refreshing to see Superman in not so much a weaker state, but a more vulnerable state in the respect that he doesn't have all of his powers just yet. And he's still more so just a snot-nosed kid who's just trying to essentially just be normal, but also show off at the same time. And if I was Brainiac, I would not go to a point where Clark Kent would have his powers already somewhat developed. I would go to when he's a baby and I would take him and just, throw him in a freaking lake or something where nobody would know and it would be as easy as stealing candy. I feel like Brainiac really dropped the ball on that one, but I know for entertainment purposes, that's what was done for the
right. I think at the same time, I think Brainiac just like what you could kind of blame on the technology, like it's just like time travel, he just like kind of figured it out. So like he knew he's going back in the past to like this kind of era, but like I don't think he knew exactly when he was gonna like show up in like Superman's like past. So I kind of give it like a pass with that. Because it's just like a brand new technology. But no, I do agree with like a lot what you're saying, and I think this show kind of like it gave like even the young Clark, he's kind of snarky. It kind of gave this show kind of gave Superman like a satirical edge to him. Like he's still like the good Boy Scout, but like he kind of can like pull his oneers and like be a little snarky and like give his little jabs here and there. But like he's still Superman, and I like that balance. It's not like he's too like too goody, where he's like, all right, he's boring, but like at the same time, he still like fills the essence of the character. So like, I think that the show like does a perfect balance with that. Yeah, this episode's like one of my favorites. It's always great to go back to it. I guess I'd give this like I'd probably give this a 10. Like, yeah, I think I would because it's always like whenever I go back to it, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, so it's like my first thought. So, yeah, I give this a 10.
I also
I
wanna. Oh, go ahead.
so I just wanted to ask you guys, like, and so Jerry, you said you've seen this episode before. I
Mhm.
doubt
It
that.
I know I haven't
have
watched
not.
all episodes in like release time span, but I do remember this episode. Maybe not I probably watched it maybe not 98, maybe more so 99, but this episode is something I do remember.
Okay, okay, yeah, that like yeah, this one's always like one I go back to. Oh, there's something else I wanted to say, but I don't remember.
I just wanted to throw in I forgot to say this when I was giving my final thoughts and review. For like 23, 22 minutes, it's not a lot of moving parts, but the moving parts that they have all cohesively blend together. Even when it's slow, it's still like, okay, even though Superman's talking to the Legionnaires, they're still dealing with Brainiac, or they're still trying to deal with protecting Clark Kent and his family, or they're just trying to make sure that nobody else is being hurt, and they're trying to find a way to, defeat and restrain Brainiac. And how they did all of that in 20, this time slot that they used was absolutely perfect, and I wouldn't change a single thing about it. I just wanted to throw that in as well.
Did you give it a rating? Did you give it like a number?
Yeah. I said I gave it a solid 8.
Okay. Fair. Matthew.
Okay, now it's my turn. Okay, so basically, I want to say one thing with Jerry with his back time traveling thing. As you're saying that, I just had that like went back and remembered the Deadpool 2, what's it called? End credit scene crap when he goes back in time.
God.
Yeah, I want
Then
the
he
that.
starts.
Okay, I'm like, yeah, yeah. And then we have Big Booty Danny saying what she said, what they said here. Casually murdering babies, got it.
Yeah, Matt, why would you say that?
I did not.
Why would
Yeah,
you
Matt.
make Josh say anything
Sure.
about casually murdering babies?
I don't know. But from seeing this, I've never seen this episode, so basically I went in this one kind of blind. Josh just kept on saying New Kids on the Block, so I was like, all right, we're gonna see New Kids on the Block. They're gonna show up. Superman's gonna hang out with them out of nowhere. They gain some special abilities. Blah 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 blah. No, it
that
ends
would've
up being this
sucked.
whole different. Hey, you never know. It's the
No,
wasn't
that
this
would've
with the
sucked
third?
bad.
This is the final season, right? 3 seasons.
I think so. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so why not throw a wrench like a bad episode in there, you know? Uh, but anywho, no, it ends up becoming like an actually good episode. I actually enjoyed it. Like you guys are explaining like how Clark Kent he is a teenager. I still say he's a dick, but he is a teenager. He is growing up. You do see him actually grow up and everything like that. And I do like that it was Brainiac doing all this other stuff. I actually do enjoy Brainiac as a villain, and I've been waiting to see him in like a some called movie that more recently come
Yeah,
into
I know,
play.
like a live
And
action.
he
Yeah.
hasn't yet. We have the technology. We've seen like other movies do kind of like this kind of styled stuff with
Yeah.
him, styled kind of character like him. And I'm like, it can't be that hard to just do this. And it feels like people are just scared to try using him because he's such just an advanced machine. And how do you write a good script with this character? But we've seen comic books do it, and we've seen the animated shows do it. So like, I can see someone actually making a good movie out of it, but waiting for that to happen. Let's see what the reboot series for DC universe. But
Yeah, they'll just do it like Injustice 2.
no.
Yeah, I don't like Injustice. I mean,
The
I like
games are
the
fine.
game. Like, I like the play. I didn't like the story wasn't bad. But that's a whole different thing. I don't want to talk about.
No, and I did like how serious and how serious the episode was and how goofy it was. And a nice balance to it. I
did.
do feel bad. I do feel bad for the freaking jock kid. That guy's ass kicked. I do feel bad. He just never got stopped like getting his ass kicked.
No,
No, he did not. Just
by Clark and then Brainiac.
yeah, just nonstop. Like he couldn't catch a break. But like he just it does like it is a good like refresher seeing like this kind of episode, like seeing where Clark is being raised and everything, and how actually he different perspective of how he grew up and from another writer's person like view of him. To me, I actually give this one a 9. I'm not
Cool.
gonna lie. I do
Yeah,
give it a
9
9
too.
because
I
I
like
do. The Legionnaires, they're there. I kind of like them, but at the same time, I kind of forget they're there sometimes here and there, unless they really do something crazy. Because we were mostly they're just there. They were like, I get it. If they intervene too much, they will maybe fuck something up. But they're trying to do their best to save Superman as gently to time as they can. You know what I mean? Like they were
Mhm.
there, but they weren't there. But they kind of like gently did the battle, like fighting the battles in a
Oh,
way.
gently. I thought you
Gently.
said Jet Li.
No,
I thought you said.
oh my god!
I was like,
They
what?
jet lead in that bitch.
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
They kind of just gently.
That's all I'm gonna hear now.
Oh god! Like that's what they did. Like they just did like ease. Like they did like they just kept like trying. I did. I just want to finish what I'm trying to say, but like they didn't try to like screw up time as what the adding them into like everything as they wiped his memory at the freaking end of the episode. They just make sure.
Yeah,
nothing-
I did like that. That was
I did like
They
that. I
do
forgot
wipe
about
his
that.
mind.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
mentioned that.
Yeah,
It's
me
like,
too.
all right,
Yeah,
you don't
Seven
remember
Girls,
any of this
racist
shit.
Everyone's
Yeah.
mind.
Your farm
gave
was
me the
on
Men in
fire.
Black.
They think it was damage from a
Yeah.
twister. So they're like, oh, okay. That's the biggest twister we had in years. Like, I like that. And it makes sense. Like, you don't want to screw up his timeline, and like he would know. I like that. He kind of finds his own way. It did. After I watched this episode, I wanted to watch more, but I was like, I gotta watch Smallville right now. So it just made me want to watch more Superman animated series. So that is a good plus.
Okay, I'm trying to read something
Well,
here from
Jimmy
Jimmy
Jazz says,
Jazz.
let's be honest, Lee was in League.
In the league.
Jet Li definitely was in the league. He inspired at least one member.
Yeah, Jet Li. Say that 5 times. Man, say that 3 times fast.
Gently,
No.
gently.
I'm hearing jelly. I'm hearing fucking
Jelly?
Gently. That's a good one. I don't think I heard that one before.
We just made one up. We claim ownership of it.
Done.
Good. Trademark.
Thanks to me.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the main event, which is Smallville, the pilot, first aired 2001, starring Tom Welling as Clark Kent, Michael Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor, and many others. So, Jerry, if you don't mind taking over the synopsis for Smallville.
Absolutely. So, Smallville, first off, before I even say this, Smallville is probably the best medium that we have still in the last decade that is the perfect representation of Superman. It ran for a solid 10 years. It ended in 2011. It had literally a season a year, and I think that is awesome. But the pilot of Smallville stars. It shows Smallville back in, I believe it's 1989, if I'm remembering that
Yeah, it
correctly.
was.
And everybody's, it's homecoming, since it's a small town, basically like the homecoming game is a big parade and a festival. Everybody's having, fun and a good time. But little do they know, up in the not the far reaches, but a little bit, outside of Earth's range, is a spaceship and meteorites carrying kryptonite that are on their way to crash down in the small, sleepy city of Smallville, Kansas. And everyone, you see Jonathan and Martha Kent as young adults, or not so much young adults, but younger adults, I should say. And they, we see that obviously, they're having fertility issues because Martha is just, her baby fever is just at an all-time high, and they just can't conceive a child. And so they're in a floral shop talking to Lana. I'm gonna mispronounce it. I think it's Rhodes. It's Lana Rhodes, right? Is it Lana Rhodes? I don't remember her last name.
That's a different kind of.
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry.
Lana Lang.
Lana Lang. That's what it is. Lang. I don't know why I thought that. I'm so sorry.
Oh
Lana Lang.
I can't believe you did that. Like,
I'm sorry. It's Lana Lang. Lana Lang.
Good night, everybody. We're cutting it short tonight.
We see a young Lana before Clark Kent, touches down, and she's in a floral shop with her. What is her aunt's name? Because I always miss
Nell.
Okay.
Yeah.
With her aunt Nell, she's waiting for her parents because they're at the homecoming game, waiting to get the news that the team had won. And so, when the Kents go into the floral shop, Aunt Nell, she's very excited to see Jonathan Kent. She's excited, and then she sees Martha. She's like, "Oh, you brought her along. Thanks." And then, they get the news. Everybody's, driving around, they're honking horns, in excitement, saying like, "Oh yeah, we won again, woohoo!" And sadly, then that's when we also see Lex Luthor as a young child. Now he's 9 years old. He is 9 years old.
8 or 9, something like that.
He's a young child, and he's riding in a helicopter with his father, and obviously he's doing some kind of big business deal. And Lex runs off through the cornfields, and he sees a young man tied up like a scarecrow with an S on his chest, which is, a hazing ritual that they have of their homecoming game. And then, right as, Lex turns around and start running away, boom, crash, explosions start happening, and the meteorites and debris from space start falling down into Smallville, causing all types of accidents, havoc, and what have you. And we see young Lex Luthor being, caught in an explosion. The young man that is hung, that is out like a scarecrow, he's also caught up in the explosion. Lana loses her parents in a horrific, just freak meteorite accident, exploding their car. And then the Kents are driving away, and then their car is caught in an explosion, and it flipped over. And then they see a young Clark Kent just kind of walking up to him, and is like, "You guys okay in there? You all right?" And then from there, Martha tells Jonathan, "We're taking him with us. I want this child." And he's like, "Children don't fall from space, woman. We got to, take them to the proper authorities and find his folks." And then, obviously flash forward to, the current time of Smallville. Clark Kent is a teenager. He wants to join the football team like his dad and kind of follow in his footsteps. But his dad's like, "No, you can't do it. You can't do it." He's never, he's doing the classic parent thing. He's saying no, but he's not giving a reason as to why. And Clark is just getting really frustrated and upset about the whole ordeal. But, he just lets it go and is like, "Okay, well, maybe I'll convince him at dinner and stuff. And Martha's telling him, you have to let him do something normal at least. And Jonathan's being very overprotective. And then we see that Clark misses the bus. His friends make a small bet on if he's going to be late. And then at school, he runs into, I don't remember the jock's name, but we run into him and Lana.
Whitney.
And his name's what?
Whitney Houston?
Whitney
No,
Houston? Whitney Houston?
Yeah. I don't remember his last name.
He runs into Whitney Houston, but as Clark gets closer to Lana, she's wearing a kryptonite necklace, but Clark does, unbeknownst to him, it's just like, every time I get closer, I just feel so weak. And, I get weak in the knees like a schoolboy crush. And he just kind of, falls over himself and whatnot. And as things continue to unfold, we see that there is a young man who develops the powers of electricity, but that we have no context. We just know that he was the young man that was hazed, unfortunately, 12 years ago. And so he's going around getting revenge on his bullies and essentially just kind of trying to right a wrong with another wrong. But he has unfortunately been, how do I want to phrase it? He has been, in his mind, he has been changed and altered by the explosion that he was in, as we soon come to find out that he developed an electrolyte imbalance, I believe is the proper term that they used. And then also around the same time, we learn that Clark Kent is an alien, and Jonathan shows him the message from his parents that was on a stone tablet that he's been trying to decipher for years and unfortunately couldn't read. And he showed Clark obviously doesn't believe. He's like, so you're telling me I fell from space? So where's my spaceship? In the attic? He's like, no, it's in the storm cellar. He shows him, and then very, for a good reason, Clark's very upset with his father. Like, why didn't you tell me? I'm not normal. Nothing about me has ever been normal. And then I'm remembering all of this out of order because of my earlier slip up. I'm so sorry.
That's still in my head, but go ahead.
Don't worry, they're still running off of me.
No, you're doing good. You're doing good.
And then we see Lex Luthor, who is, at this point, he would be a young adult by now, right? He would be in his early 20s.
Yeah.
Okay. He's in his early 20s. He's driving his Porsche. He receives a phone call. I presume this from his father about some type of business or, maybe something to do with the family and whatnot. And then there's a delivery truck that's carrying barbed wire. And unfortunately, that truck driver did not secure the barbed wire properly, and it falls off. And as Lex Luthor unfortunately picks up the phone to see who's calling, he hits the barbed wire. It pops all of his tires, and he hits Clark Kent, and they go off into the river on the bridge where it happens. And he was at such a high rate of speed, he was knocked unconscious. And Lex believes that he hit Clark and potentially injured or fatally killed him. But he was like, no, you just kind of barely dodged me, when in all actuality he hit him. But Clark Kent is Superman, and he knows he's not normal. And so to make things right, Lex Luthor buys a brand spanking new truck and is like, I owe your son a life debt. He saved my life. I was recklessly driving. I was doing 70 in a 50 in a Porsche, and I was looking at my cell phone, texting and driving. This is the very least I can do. But once again, Jonathan's like, you can't keep the truck. Go give it back. And he's like, well, what if you drive the new one and I get the old one? I just, Clark is.
Where'd you go, Jerry?
He gone.
Sorry, we had technical difficulties. We can hear Jerry, so he's continuing synopsis without being on the show. So, Matt, finish it. Oh, wait, he's coming back.
Oh, time out,
3,
Jerry.
2, 1. I was excited for Matt to finish it. Okay. There he is.
So,
I'm in the middle.
And so, Clark goes to Lex Luthor's place of residence and is like, my dad said we can't accept the truck. We appreciate your generous offer, but this is just something we can't do. And Lex Luthor is like, well, is it because of does your dad not like me? What is it? And he's like, and Clark tells him, my dad's not a big fan of your dad, and Lex Luthor tells him, well, that doesn't have anything to do with our potential budding friendship. And so they begin to sow the seeds of friendship, which we all know later on just devolves into, if you watch Smallville into season 5, things get really rocky really fast. But I digress. Clark, he is just still so traumatized over finding out that he's an alien and he's not a normal teenager, that he's walking through the woods just lost in his own mind, and he ends up in a cemetery, and he gives some words of encouragement to Lana Lang, and because she's there to visit her deceased parents, and just kind of have that small, just one-on-one time that she still misses dearly, as she talks about in her dreams. And, they have a small, reconnecting moment like, hey, everything's going to be okay. Nothing's as bad as it seems right now. Everything, is going to, work itself out, which, as a teenager, you always want to hear when you go through identity crisis or you're still dealing with the extremely traumatic event that, has essentially changed your life. But Whitney Houston was very jealous of Clark, thinking that he and Lana Lang had a fling going on, and he's like, guess what, Clint, you're this year's Scarecrow, and he's wearing Lana's kryptonite necklace, and he's like, can't defend myself. And so they strip him down to his skivvies. They do a piss poor job of tying rope around him and putting him on this Scarecrow post. And so I don't remember the gentleman's name that was in the coma for 12 years. I think it's Jeremy.
Jeremy. Right. It was Jeremy, yeah.
And so Jeremy tells him, you're the same as me, and I'm going to go get revenge for the both of us. And Clark's like, no, please stop. Just get me down. And he's like, no, you're safer here anyway. But as Jeremy's leaving the cornfield, that's by Luthor Enterprises, Lex Luthor's like, what are you doing over there? And then Jeremy just disappears, and then he hears Clark saying, help, somebody, please help. And Lex Luthor, in great concern, runs, gets him down, and Clark gets the necklace off, and it's dropped in the cornfield. Lex picks it up and is like, this is a funny looking rock you got here. I've never seen an emerald shine like this in the nighttime. And so, Clark manages to get to the homecoming dance in enough time to not only see Lana Lang and Whitney Houston having their, homecoming king and queen dance, but also he manages to stop Jeremy before he can turn on the sprinkler system and electrocute everyone. But also in the process, he runs over some kind of water line, does he not? And he electrocutes himself and knocks himself unconscious. And then he kind of resets himself, and he wakes up and he's like, who are you? Where am I? I want to go home. He just has, an episode of amnesia. And the episode just ends with Lana Lang going to the Kent family barn house, and Clark is up there still with his telescope looking toward the stars for answers and things. And she tells him, I didn't see you at the homecoming dance, and I saved that dance for you. And they share a very, I'm not going to say passionate or intimate in the sense of, that they're in a relationship, but it's intimate in the respect that they're two kindred souls trying to find their place in the world. And that's where the episode ends.
Yeah, but it turns out that was a dream that Clark had, like a daydream he had in his head. And then like the reality is she's getting dropped off by Whitney and like her friend. And then he says to her, oh, thanks for the dance, Lana. And then like it seems like she kind of hears it. She's like, huh. And then she goes inside.
I like my ending better. It was more
I do like how the ending of the show, like that didn't happen. It was like a daydream of Clark's, because like teenagers do that all the time, especially like with someone they like. They're like, they go into these fantasies like, what if the girl I was really madly in love with came into my barn right now? We do this, So it's
what
cool.
if I can get my Mac on?
Yeah, it was a nice moment, and I liked how like she kind of she might have heard it, but you don't know. I think it would have been too on the nose if she like came into the barn and they had that dance. I think it would have been like, and they ended it there. I'm like, it would have been too much.
Before we get too much further in, I've been saving this news article. I don't know if Josh might have this pulled up as a tab, so I'm going to steal his thunder if it's not there already. So the best friend that's talking to Pete, what's her name? The one who's got the funny camera that's like a off-brand Kodak.
Chloe.
Yeah, Chloe. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but in 2021, the actress for her, Allison Mack, yes, I beat you to it
What?
finally.
What?
She is a horrible human being. Her name is Allison Mack, and 2 years ago, she went to trial for bringing in young women into this sex ring cult.
Okay.
Yep. You didn't know that?
That was a big thing. I wasn't paying attention to her news. No, I didn't know.
No, that was they were located like in New York, like
in New York.
It was like Albany,
damn,
George area. Yeah,
no.
I forget what it's called.
It's a funny name. It's like Nevum Nixum. It's a cult. It's a cult that's preying on people. And what's crazy is she only has to do 3 years in federal prison for bringing young women in to this sex trafficking. And I'm like, there is no way on earth that if I just go out and start sex trafficking people, all I have to do is just serve 3 years in federal prison.
No, we're not for 10 to 15, buddy.
That's probably not where I would have started with the talking about Smallville, but yes, that did happen. Honestly,
it's important to talk about.
It is, but it regardless, if whatever, like I could kind of separate the media from like the actual events that happen with these actors. The show is so good. The Chloe is my least favorite character in the series, like regardless of what she does. I just kind of find her annoying. She has her moments, where I think she feels like the story and she's like necessary, especially in the first early seasons. But I think after Clark graduates high school, she should have left the show. But she was in it for all 10 seasons. She was there. She needed to leave. Like, I wish she left.
Her character definitely, she served her purpose, and honestly, she was kind of dull at some points because she caused some things to be much worse off, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the pilot. No. And I want to talk about how Clark was, before he knew, he always had an inclination that he was different from other kids. But when he found out he was an alien and his dad essentially, kept him in the dark for so long, he had the most teenage response. Why didn't you tell me? How long have you known? What am I going to do with this information? How am I supposed to lead a normal life? Is this why you won't let me on a football team, Dad? Like, I can run at 120 miles an hour and you're worried that I'm going to have some kind of accident while I'm playing football. And I just saved the one dude in the town who owns some property, a ton of property, and I'm just trying to be normal, but you want me to be a freak, Dad. You're making me a freak.
Well, the dad understands.
Yeah, I did like how he had that last show moment. Go
at
ahead,
least,
man.
but the dad understands, like, if he does this and he knows what Clark is capable of doing, that he wouldn't mean to do it, but he would accidentally cause more harm if he got like we've all played sports, we all done it. We've got too into it too much, and we've caused more accidents to happen than we should have, or we go more full speed than we should have, and all that nonsense. We've been there. So imagine Clark Kent going full speed on accident. We would have a splatter mess.
It's gonna be the
Okay?
boys.
Oh God. But like you know how
It
you're like
is.
saying the teenager reaction before that man shoved his hand in a wood chipper.
Yeah.
Show his dad.
Yeah.
Show his dad like, Dad, there's something different about me. Bah! No, my hand's fine.
I like that moment. I like that.
That was a good moment.
I liked it too.
I
but
do
was like,
understand the
damn.
dad's need of, wanting to protect his son because he knows he's not of this world, obviously, and he's vastly different from everyone else. But also, in the same token, if you want him to be normal, you have to, it's one of those things as a parent, you have to have those hard conversations where even if you didn't tell him, you're from outer space, you should have told him, son, there's something different about you. I want you to understand. You can do things that other people your age can't do and won't be able to do. So even though you're going to be as careful as you can, eventually there might be an accident that might cause you to, kind of reveal your extraordinary capabilities for a moment or two. And I definitely was siding a lot more with the mom when she said, Jonathan, you need to talk to him. Because I believe if, the roles were reversed and, the mom was the one saying, no, you can't do anything. And no, I want you to, just come home and be with us. I believe, Jonathan as a dad would have, pulled him off to the side. Like, dad's always doing, kind of gave him that under the table talk. Like, hey, I know your mom's being really unreasonable, and I know you've been toughing it out, but here's the thing that your mom doesn't want to tell you, and just kind of give him something so he can understand where you're coming from. Also, when they were having the football tryouts and Pete was in the gear, the actresses they picked for those cheerleaders, they definitely were like, let's cast all American, like the girl next door, all her cute friends. Like, let's just go as attractive teenagers as possible. Because I was watching and I'm like, man, all of them are, they're beautiful young women, but where's kind of, the odd duck out? It's like I was watching a private school cheerleading tryout where all of them, have the blush, the makeup, they have the scrunchies and the whatever else teenage girls have at that time period.
Yes, they had periods.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
The one thing about this episode, like, I kind of liked watching this pilot, and it like gave me like nice vibes of like seeing how it was. Like is it different? Like you get to see Clark Kent grow up and like try to take life as a human and everything. Like you see him just trying to be normal, but he does use his powers. Mm-hmm. Like because he missed the bus, he showed up freaking like 5 seconds right after the bus dropped everyone off. He was like should not be there at all. But like it was like nice seeing him like gently using his abilities in this first episode, not going too crazy with them. And what's it called? The thing about Lex Luthor is like he gets like the first time we meet him, he gets rocked by an asteroid by trying to save somebody hung up as a scarecrow. Then this man
I don't even think he was trying to save him. He just walked into him as a 9-year-old.
Well, anyway, whatever. But anyway, and then he's like 12 years later, he does the same thing. He ends up walking in the freaking cornfield because he's curious of whatever's like saying help me, and it's just like I'm like in my head I'm like I would have been like shit, round 2, here we go, what am I gonna
I thought that,
find?
yeah, I thought that was a cool moment because, like, yeah, he's getting the flashback memory of like he sees the Jeremy character again, you know, when his
Mhm.
adult life. He's like, is this like a,
Mhm.
you know, a dream or like is this like some figment of my imagination? And then he hears the help me, and it's like echoing that, like what you were saying before, Matt, like him hit that traumatic experience, him as a child, and he goes in and then he sees Clark hung up. He has a kryptonite necklace that Lana has because it's the last remnants of like the meteor rock that killed her parents, and
I
she
want the
like
rock that
says,
killed my parents.
yeah, well, she says like it only brought bad luck. All it has left in it is probably good luck, so that's why she keeps it on her. And like it's nice, like the instant Clark is trying to approach Lana, he just stumbles and falls with his
Flatlines.
books and like makes him look like a buffoon. And it's not really his fault. It's just, you know, the circumstances of the kryptonite, which they don't know it's called kryptonite yet. It's meteor rock at that point. But yeah, I
Mhm.
like how it like this show, it's not just the spaceship that lands, like it's the meteorites, like the meteorites like come in and it's like catastrophic. It's not just like, oh, baby Clark Kent just comes in, swoops in like under the radar. But like the meteorites, I mean, at this like in modern times, it's kind of necessary to kind of hide the spaceship because like no one would pick up like, oh, there's like a, you know, an alien craft that landed. Like everyone's focusing on the meteorites that landed on, you know, on this small town. So I like that cover, and plus it kind of gives more elements to the story. Like it killed Lana's parents, and like all these meteor rocks are affecting all the citizens of Smallville. So it gives like Clark some villains to combat
Mhm.
in the future episodes and in this episode. And like even in this episode, he's like, oh, it's all my fault. Like Chloe reveals her wall of weird, and it's all these significant events that happen after Meteor Rocks, like all the weird stuff that happened in Smallville. And he's just like, shit, like this is all my fault. This is 100% because of me. And like now he has to deal with those repercussions, and he goes out in the graveyard, and that's when he meets up with Lana, and they're having that night interaction. And then Whitney, you know, jealous boyfriend hangs him up as a scarecrow, and then that's when Lex kind
Mhm.
of finds him in the forest, well, in the cornfield, I should say.
Yeah, something else that I also really liked in this episode, we even though we get small glimpses of Clark's powers, he never really taps too much into them unless what's absolutely necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because even at the essence of it, he's still just trying to be a normal person, and he wants to be, like the rest of his friends. He wants to, he wants to go to the homecoming dance, but obviously he knows, well, I'm an alien, so if I have an accident, I might accidentally start, I don't know, some kind of international war, any kind of, just gross over exaggeration in his mind because he doesn't know what or who he is as a person. And when he was in the graveyard with Lana, that scene really spoke a lot to me because, obviously Lana, wants to try to, hold the conversation with him, but she doesn't know, like, well, why is it that whenever he sees me, he just starts falling over himself and he's always out of breath and just can't get a word in. But when they start talking, she gives him those great words of comfort that he you can see he held on to them very near and dearly because as the story continued to unfold in the pilot episode, he even though he was going through a lot of self-blame for the accidents, he still knew he was the only person that could make it right. And even when you can tell Lana she still remembers, and I believe she might suffer from nightmares and night terrors from seeing her seeing her parents, just horrifically killed by a freak meteorite explosion that she wears as a necklace, it's something that it's something he wants to make right. He, he's like, I gotta do this to make sure nobody else gets hurt because of something I did uncontrollably. At that, he still doesn't at this point have the full story on everything that happens. And when they're both just kind of, just making up the words like, what's that, Mrs. Lang? You want me to tell Lana that she's not alone and that you're always, here with her, just watching over her? What's that, Mr. Lang? You want me to also say that she's a shoe-in for a homecoming queen? That's a little bit weird, bro.
Yeah,
that was your daughter, so I'll relay the message. You can tell there's a lot of empathy that the two of them not only develop for each other, but they also kind of share, since they're going through similar, crisis with, self-identity and self-actualization.
And they're both orphans.
Yeah. And it's something that I think they definitely used very well with Lana's character before they introduced Lois Lane. Because Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, but at one point in the show they were an item, correct?
Yeah,
because Lana developed powers of her own through pink kryptonite or purple kryptonite. It was one of the colored kryptonites.
It got fucking convoluted. I would say, honestly, if you're gonna watch the show, watch it till like season 5 or 6, and then I guess you could finish it just to finish it. Well, that's kind of where the show is worth watching, because when Jerry's getting into all this other, I don't even know what the fuck, the multicolored kryptonites. In the beginning, it was cool, but they kept adding them, and then the show got.
And then when they brought in Bizarro World, that started playing the part in all of that too. And I'm like, this is just weird.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even really remember that stuff. I actually recently started to rewatch the show, so I just got to season 3, and honestly, I think season 3 is once it starts, that's probably the darkest season, and I think that's when it starts to get really interesting. Season 3 to season 5 is the best of Smallville, I would say.
Yeah,
I mean, even season 6 pretty good too.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this because me, my brother, and my dad, whenever the new episode was on, we were right there, not moving, eating dinner. Because my dad was the one who got me and my brother to watch Smallville.
That's
cool. And it just turned into just a ritual, because we were so just enthralled with the drama that they put teenage Clark Kent through is absolutely nutty. Because he runs away and leaves home at one point, and he's just like, fuck it, I'm done being here. All these problems keep happening while I'm here, so I'm just gonna leave and go to Metropolis. Lex Luthor starts going down his villain path. It just everything just turned crazy.
It did. Yeah, it really did. And I like how it starts out with the two characters being friends, And Matt hasn't seen too much of the show. You just seen basically the pilot, right? Have you seen other episodes?
You have got me. You have showed me episodes. The one I remember the most is the gum episode, because you wouldn't.
Oh, that's a shit episode.
You wouldn't shut the hell up about it. But
that's a god-awful episode.
I'm just gonna butt in for 1 second though. But Trey, you need a bonk, buddy. You don't.
I'm on the host chat. I'm not even looking.
Yeah, same. I can't look at it anymore.
I have to. I'm reading this nonsense. It's crazy.
So,
yeah, I'm in the host chat.
Since you're fresh on the show, I don't want Jerry and I to take over and talk about the whole series. What do you think of the pilot, and what is your kind of initial reaction to Smallville? And go to the host chat.
I can't go to host chat. There's too much happening. I'll miss something. But no, watching this show, I remember It's been years, but I have watched, I believe, the first season. I have
You
watched
watched the
that.
whole first season?
I believe I watched the whole
Okay.
first season,
Hmm.
but I haven't seen it in years. So technically, me watching this episode, like the pilot, is a refresher because I haven't seen it in a bit. I do remember hearing there things with it. Like I do remember the scarecrow thing. I do remember the car crash. I do remember like the whole beginning sequence. I was gonna say, but I got too absorbed into this conversation. No, I'm not leaving, Josh. The whole thing with the whole opening sequence, I didn't even know there was a fucking spaceship landing like on Earth with that whole setup. When I was just paying, like, just seeing asteroid there, asteroid, I wasn't paying attention for the freaking spaceship. I wasn't really care. I was like, all right, this shit's just falling.
That's how the show
I know.
opens. It's the spaceship and then all the asteroids
I
going to
know,
fucking Earth.
but I
What
know,
were you
but,
doing?
like,
Playing PlayStation at the same time, watching the show like you always do?
we don't speak of
Yes.
this.
Yes, you were.
Hey! At least I watched the show.
That's
You
not
did watch the
fucking
show.
watching the show.
Hey,
That's not fucking. I don't know what you claim of watching the show. That is not watching it.
Let me poke back right now. You were supposed to give me an answer on my 2 picks last podcast, sir, and you didn't, sir, because you were working out during one. Because you're supposed to give me a legitimate rating on that show.
Oh, that's a bonus episode. I said.
You suck. You suck. But anywho, I did.
I had a lot going on that week. To be fair, there's a lot going on.
I know.
So, go ahead. Talk about your PlayStation game that you were playing.
While I was watching the show, me and Jared were going through dungeons and dungeons and dungeons with Jimmy in the comments here. In Diablo 4, we're wrecking shit. No, just
all right, fuck. I don't care. I really could care less.
I'm joking. I'm
wearing. Well, Trey, I'm wearing the Clark Kent flannel. I'm doing it for the episode. So just to let you know. Go ahead, Matt. Say whatever. What you're talking about.
All right, so. Okay, so like I was saying, like before, like we're all talking about, like I did like how they introduced Clark Kent, like everything's like more of like a normal base like set situation. He's just an average day human and everything, but he does use his abilities and everything. And I do like in like what Jerry was talking about earlier with the him using his abilities here and there, but not too much. I do like when but unless he needs to, I like when got in the car accident with Lex and everything. He didn't try to struggle with the door like an idiot. He just said, "Fuck, I need to save this man." And he rips the freaking the roof of the car off and saves Lex out instead of just wasting time with him. In case if Lex was awake and all that stuff, he doesn't want him seeing him. But he did look and see he was knocked out though. But the whole setup is all the characters are all Chloe. I do remember her being slightly annoying. I wasn't a whole I'm not gonna dive into it. It's been a while. She's vague, but it's vague memories of her. But she does get annoying here and there. But I love how the friendship between her, Chloe and Pete and Clark, they're all they kind of know how Clark runs. They have the small bets between each other. I love how the bet doesn't really go anywhere with the friend thing. It's oh, he's gonna be late. How'd you know? I know Clark. How'd you know he's gonna fall? I know Clark. And they just keep passing the same amount of money back and forth. It's like no one really gets the money really until late at the end of the day of school when you'll see Clark. But how often they going to make the bet? How many times? I wonder how many times they actually make bets against
it. They did it twice in what would you say, 40 minthis to an hour?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did it twice. But I want to know now in my pack of off this show. How often do they do this to this guy?
It seems like it's a recurring deal.
Me too, but how often during like the day, every hour they're making this stupid bet. Like, but whatever. But the villain with like technically the villain, I do like how he was like accidentally born from all this like happening, like all like this like the wow this scenario of like getting knocked out with this what's it called the with the meteors and like he just gets his powers from like going from being in the coma and all that and all that and like he's trying to make a right but he's definitely not making the rights because of how he's going at it. It's like he's straight up just torturing everybody. I'm not gonna lie, like his three victims that he's like taken out because he's like those are the three people he remembers tying them up to be a scarecrow. I'm not there. They should have died because the way we saw the last victim of his, they quoted him as the third victim. Is the is like he's in like he's on the gurney with like the breathing mask and everything on. I'm like, if that's the same guy we just saw not that long ago, he was frying the shit out of him. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm like, it just makes me like have like mixed like wonder if like he overdid stuff from like the first guy we saw, but later down he started changing up how it was going because he started seeing like I don't know it's like sort of weird with the scenario of him and his ability of using it towards the way he was planning on like getting his like his vengeance and all that stuff. But like him about to flatline everybody in the gym was definitely 100% worse.
Yeah, when he was like, none of these people in there are your friends, and Clark's like, dude, what are you talking about? Two of my best friends are in there.
Yeah,
like they're. What are you talking about? You're about to commit what is it? A mass murder.
Yeah, but like the same thing with that with him doing that, he doesn't even know Clark and anybody in that room. He's just doing it and all this other stuff, like because he saw what happened to Clark. He was like, "All right, I'm gonna get back at them because I know the people that did this to you was in that room." But he wasn't thinking of like maybe Clark knew every like a Mike. Let's not just say he just knew what's it called, like Pete and Chloe, like that. Like, he didn't just know them. He knew like at least 20 more people in that room that closely. He could have fried his whole friend group in one shot. He was going to do it anyway, but that would be a larger patch of people in that area. So that would have been like, but
yeah, he's just trying to kill everyone in high school. He's like,
yeah,
I want vengeance on everyone.
I definitely got the feeling from him that they used to beat him up back in the day. Because you could tell he was projecting some unresolved issues. Like, I'm gonna kill all of them. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for us.
Well,
people who go through the same thing that we went through. And I'm like, okay, well, hold on. I'm only going through this because a douchebag thinks I'm trying to steal his girl. When I'm really not, but I actually end up stealing her later on. And you have a punchable face, sir, and I want to punch you.
I agree with that, but
I wanted to punch his face at least.
So I wanted to mention a couple of things.
What?
So Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling. Tom Welling playing Clark Kent and Michael Rosenbaum playing Lex Luthor. They just started, well, not just started, but they started a podcast called Talkville, and they've been going through like every episode. I think they just finished season 2. So I caught up to where they are. I'm on season 3. So like there's a call-in hotline and all that. So I'm gonna try to call and ask a question, which is cool. But it's kind of fun going through the show and then listening to what they have to say, because like even they kind of shit on the show. Like it's kind of funny, I do like it. I mean, obviously, like, they talk about the good stuff, like there's good episodes, but like I think in the first season, like they're still kind of like finding their stride. Like it's kind of like Freak of the Week that they're talking about, like with the meteorite.
Oh God,
people.
I'm so glad they got rid of that.
Yeah, they got through that like pretty quickly. I mean, like it took like one season, and then like season 2 was kind of like when they get into the lore of like Superman and like where he came from, which is interesting. They have the Chris Reeve episode, which is pretty cool, and they just finished season 2. So I just want to give a shout out to that. And also the last thing we just discussed, the new Kids in Town, the Superman animated series. There's a moment where Lana comes in. She comes into Kent's house, and then she goes to Clark. She wants to apologize for like basically bitching at him. And Clark, I mean not Clark, Jonathan and Martha, like Martha grabs Jonathan and is like, "Oh, isn't Dukes a Hazard on?" Like, let's trying to pull pull Jonathan like out of the room. All right, bye, Matt. And like it's funny that they mention that because the connection with Dukes of Hazzard is John Schneider who plays Jonathan Kent in Smallville, is like one of the main characters in Dukes of Hazzard. So I thought that was kind of like a neat tie-in, especially like how that happened. Now we're in the correct order. Thank you, Matt.
That's very interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. I wanted to write that down because I noticed that, like when I was watching, I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I guess the time period, like when Clark grew up, was when Dukes of Hazzard was on in that show. And I want to say the casting for the show is like pitch perfect. Like,
yes,
Kristen Crook as Lana Lang, perfect. Like Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum, John Schneider, Annette O'Toole. Annette O'Toole played Lana Lang in Superman 3, so that was like a cool connection for like OG Superman fans of like the Chris Reeve universe. John Glover as Lionel Luthor, like he gets more prominent as the show goes on. Like I love his relationship with Lex. Honestly, I think Lex is the best character in the whole show.
Yeah,
like, he has the most going on.
He had so much growth, toward in the beginning, and then he just went through that spiral. I think what was it, toward the end of season 2 into season 3, if I remember right.
Yeah. That's kind of like
it has been a very long time. So please forgive my forgetfulness. But I'll never forget. It's one scene with Lex Luthor. It's when I think they're in like a train yard, and he pulls an extra pistol out, and he tosses it.
Oh yeah,
and he was like,
I just watched.
The person's like, well, if you shoot me, they're gonna think you're murdered. He's like, you're right. That's why I'm gonna do this. And he gets his handkerchief and pulls his gun out. He tosses it to him. He tells him, pick it up. And then obviously, he's gonna turn it into a self-defense case because the magazine in the other one was empty.
Yeah, that happened in season 2. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I just watched that not too long ago. So like, I just wanted to give a shout out to Taco Bell, and like the Cats is great.
Yeah, definitely. Since me and Matt timed out twice, I want to go ahead and give my final thoughts and review in case it happens to me again. But
okay.
The pilot for this show there's so many things to just dissect, because not only are we, still seeing Clark Kent as, the average everyday kid, but we're also seeing him start he's putting on the training wheels now and the safety gear of turning into, okay, I'm more than the average Joe, so let me figure out what it is that I have that no one else has. And excuse me. And the cast of characters that he has established with him in the very beginning, from Lana to meeting Lex Luthor, all the way to dealing with Jeremy, who is, like you said, the freak of the week, and the very beginning one at that. To see him, just go through all those motions and just try to make sense of, okay, what's right, what's wrong, what am I, essentially. And I love Smallville. Like I said, me, my brother, my dad, we watched this faithfully every week when it came out, and it's some great nostalgic memories. even the really bad like CGI and effects that they use to, to show him using his super speed to move around and whatnot. It's also cheesy, but I love it to pieces. This for me is just an easy 10 out of 10. It's, there's so much to this show that I love how they, did right. And then, obviously they took some creative liberties, which we're not going to get too much into because it got stale after a while. But it's, definitely seeing the trials and tribulations that Teenage Superman goes through and dealt with. And, just this whole first season, it's so memorable that honestly, I forgot that it was on Hulu. So I just put that on my list. Thank you, Josh. And I'm going to start watching that when I get a minute while I'm at work. Probably when I'm at lunch, I'll just like watch an episode like every other day or so.
You should try to catch up to Talkville podcast, because then you could ask questions about like each episode.
I might do that because there are some episodes that were absolute bangers I want to call in about. But like I said, I want to get caught up because I want to relive the magic now as a cognitive.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you guys how you watched it, because I have the Blu-ray set. I was curious how you guys watched it, so I guess Hulu is the answer. So I knew it was on there. So is that how you watched it, Matt?
No, I did not. I don't have Hulu.
What did you watch on?
I watched on I just bought the episode and it was an Apple store. Just watched it that way.
Okay,
wasn't that bad.
Well,
no, we're not sponsored by Hulu or Apple.
What?
No, we're
not.
There's
a couple things I wanted to. Wait, what? What are you saying?
No, we're not sponsored by Hulu or Apple.
Oh,
yeah.
Not yet.
Soon, maybe.
We're gonna work on getting a sponsor eventually.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. So I wanted to just say a couple tidbits before we get into Matt's final thoughts. So this is the only episode without the theme song, without the Smallville, Remy Zero song, like the Somebody Save Me song. And I thought it was kind of like, I was watching, I was like, oh yeah, there's no theme in it. Well, this episode doesn't really need it, but it's nice to see. I think it's Gore or Go, and Miller, who produced the show and came up with the idea and the concept, produced the Wednesday series on Netflix. So I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah. So they came up with the concept for Wednesday. So I guess they like taking popular characters in their teenage years and progressing their stories that way. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That is cool. I like that.
So Matt, there's this one thing I want to try. I want to try it with you. So
I'm scared.
in the Talkville podcast, right? They have this one. It's Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum, and they have this fresh newbie guy. His name is Ryan. He they guess his favorite scene in the show. So he gives them. Ryan gives Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum three scenes, and they have to guess what their favorite scene is. So Matt, since you're the new guy and you're the freshest on Smallville, I want you to pick 3 scenes, and Jerry and I have to guess which one is your favorite.
This is a very fun thing you're doing, Josh, and I want to do the same thing, but I'm just gonna tell you mine while we wait for Matt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Matt. So obviously, this is a spoiler for much later in the season, but my all-time favorite scene from Smallville was when Clark Kent was fighting Bizarro Superman, and he, Bizarro Superman had the one up on him until he cracked the hole in the building they're fighting in, and the sunlight starts coming in on Clark, and you see him just slowly start standing up and get juiced on the solar energy, and you see all his cuts and abrasions and stuff start healing themselves, and he just absolutely obliterates Bizarro after that.
That's a later season too, isn't it?
That's a way later season.
Yeah, when is that?
I want to say it's 6, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Something like that.
But that, like, the way that he
That's a
stood
good one.
up and how, like, you can see, like, every single, like, small detail just, being enhanced by the sunlight. And also, the camera work for it, like, that scene just lives rent-free in my head.
I do remember that scene. I don't really remember the bizarre storyline so much, but I do remember that
Yeah.
scene.
That was I do remember that's when I kind of stopped watching it because as a kid I was like, okay, I've been watching this for years now. I'm kind of tired.
Did you finish the show? Like, did you?
I did not finish the show. I think I honestly don't remember where I stopped watching. I think me, my dad, and my brother stopped watching around maybe season 5, I believe.
Yeah, season 5 and 6 are pretty good. I almost think season 5 is the best from like memory.
Because if my memory serves right, I believe season 5, that's where it had, just so many like, whoa, and then there's the Fortress of Solitude, and just they start pulling in all the big chunks of lore and just making it into this amazing pieces.
Yeah. For sure. So Matt, did you figure out your 3 scenes that you're
Yes,
gonna have?
I was just waiting for you guys to.
All right, go ahead, Matt. Throw it out to us.
Okay, so my favorite 3 scenes here. You guys have to figure out which one's the best one. When Jared just got close to that goddamn camera.
I want to know. I'm listening attentively.
Okay, so when Clark and his dad actually have their conversation about what's going on with him, then Lex hitting Clark with the car.
Okay.
And then Clark at the end when he actually has his fantasy dream.
All right, I got mine. I could guess mine. What are you gonna guess, Jerry?
I have mine. I'll let you go first, but I have mine in my mind.
I'm gonna guess the car scene. When Lex hits Clark with the car and he saves him and he pulls him out of the lake or river or whatever it is. I'm gonna guess that.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess the scene with Clark and his dad talking because there's a lot of emotion that's going on in it, and from the body acting, obviously the vocal tones and ranges, and also how they do some of the camera angles. You can tell they're trying to beef up Clark, like his emotions are getting the better of him, and his dad's trying to reason with him, but Clark's just not having it. That's gonna be my guess.
Okay, you're both wrong. No, just joking. No, Jerry actually hit it on the mark with that.
What?
Jerry hits on the mark. You were second though. You got my second.
I'm surprised. I thought you would like the action scene.
No, I know that's second though. That's second. I like that too. But I am gonna make fun of Lex for his driving gloves. That motherfucker had his driving gloves.
Damn. I thought I had that.
No. Actually, no. That one's like probably the best because, like Jerry's literally said, like all the emotion going on. He's trying to figure out and prove the point. Like, Dad, there is something fucking wrong with me. I'm just not an average person with slight enhanced abilities. That's like some people, are faster. Some people are stronger off of given just genetics, but he is a lot more different than he is everyone else. So I did like that scene with that.
I just want to mention with that scene, I think Tom Welling was really on the money with like his acting, and this is like one of his first early acting debuts. I think he had like one role in Undeclared, which is some Judd Apatow show that like didn't really go anywhere. Well, like especially when he's like, "You should have told me," like when he's like really like giving it into his
when he's
dad
laying into his dad, like
I thought that was really
even
good.
Watching that as a kid, like I felt that, but watching it as an adult, like okay, I understand completely why he's mad and yelling at his dad the way he is.
Yeah, I thought he really nailed that part. So I wanted to get
I thought
this due diligence.
I thought you would have picked Josh's scene because that was in season 1. That was my favorite scene.
Okay.
That would have been mine. Like, well, if you thought it would have been my pick, why didn't you pick it, Jerry?
The tables have turned. No. But
reasons.
But no, like Tom.
I guess I went first, so we had to like do a different scene. So okay.
Including like there was the part when he shoves his hand into the wood chipper, like that. Even like you can see it on his face where he's like, "I'm gonna put my hand in here. Hopefully, nothing fucking really happens." Like you get like a whole bunch of stuff. Like I'm not gonna lie, I would be freaking out if I was shoving my hand into a wood chipper, not knowing what the hell was gonna happen to me. Like getting hit by a car, I get it. Like you don't. I've not. Everybody gets so hit like messed up from a car accident, but definitely the way
he was going like 60 miles per hour.
I know.
Direct.
Yeah, like that should have been fatal
off
for
a
both
bridge.
of them.
Well, yeah. I know. Nick got hit by freaking Kelsey at 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, but like he wasn't on a bridge.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean things happen.
Yeah.
People are people, you know. But yeah, Matt, I also wanted to ask you, would you or will you continue watching the show?
I'll try to fit it in. I will try.
Okay, that's fair.
All
that's
right.
fair. So he said he's gonna try.
I gotta say, like season 1, it's kind of it's okay, it's good, but like season 2 is like once it starts to kind of get more interesting, and then season 3 is like okay, shit is really hitting the fan. So like you know, it's a build.
Season 4 was so fucking drama packed. Every episode ended with like, okay, well, what are they gonna do now?
Yeah.
Like there was at every turn, I thought somebody was gonna die. At least like every other episode, because it was some intense moments, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm glad I opened the floodgates to Smallville. I feel like we had to talk about the pilot before we talked about any other episode. And there's definitely other episodes I do want to talk about. So now it's open. Now we can actually talk about the show. So I just wanted to throw that out there because there's a lot of my favorite episodes are obviously later seasons, and I would like to talk about them at some point in time on this podcast. So I just want to throw it out there. And Matt, final thoughts.
I can't like basically like this. My final thoughts is like kind of like the same thing with the other episode, the short before we started talking about this. I just like. It's like no, it's like I do like it's like.
Did you say the short people? Is that what you just said?
No, the short before this.
Oh, I thought you said the short people. Yeah, Jet Li, short people. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
So no, like I know, like it's like the same way. Like I liked how you see him in his like in the setting of him growing up. And the people he's interacting with, you get to see the taste of like how his personality is, and like how everybody else around him sees him and tries to work with him and like adjust to what he is about. And nobody else is like actually knows what he is, like if he has special like these powers. And I liked how like they have Lex in here. He's like after that incident, he's trying to jump into a friendship with Clark and everything because he feels like he needs to become friends with this guy that saved his life, and he wants to see what else is there to Clark because he knows, like it feels like he knows something's different about him than there should be because, like Josh saying, he was like going 60, maybe faster, hit him on the fucking bridge. He should have been dead, and no, he was the one saving Lex out of the car instead. He's like, I remember you doing this. There is a lot there, and it feels like Lex is gonna try to analyze it a little more down the road, but I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched the first season. But he's like, it's at least it's like not like a horrible thing. Like he shows his gratitude and everything. That's a nice thing. I like the with the like you don't see Lex with like that much kind of like character. We mostly see him as a businessman with a lot of things, or he's an asshole. So we actually see a different side of Lex than we actually see in like a lot of like animations of him or comics. I know there is some where he is actually a nice person. I bet Josh is saying there is a few, but this is probably
I
like
think there is a few.
and like this is probably the best like show like because I've seen him in like other episodes because Josh has showed me some other later episodes because he wanted to do some projects revolving around that. So but he is like actually like you see him actually being a good person. That's one thing about this show I do like. They kind of like we build up to what Lex will become later. And I do know the rumor that he gets like let off later on in the series. So we don't really. He comes back.
Yeah, that's
we don't really see that. So
yeah. I mean, that's like the whole dynamic of the show is the relationship between Clark and Lex, and then once he's like released from the show, it's like okay, that's kind of where it kind of dotted out. I mean, it was kind of like getting worse before that, but yeah, that's when the show was like, all right. Please end.
So, to what we have here, I like.
Please don't run too long like Supernatural.
Yeah.
15 seasons. 15 seasons. I still have to watch the 15th season.
No, you don't.
Well, one of
it's ass.
I think it's Jason Ackles tried out to be Clark Kent in this show, and then later on in like season 4, he becomes a football coach. Like Clark's a football coach, so like I think he starts out in Smallville in that season. I think season 4, and then Supernatural happened like right after that. So just wanted to say.
It's interesting.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, to answer Josh with me watching this, like go back to that before I give my answer here, but I have watched basically Supernatural all the way up to like the end. I still haven't finished the last season. I know what's in it. I don't want to do it, but I may have to do it. So I could probably watch this whole Smallville because that's a long series. Supernatural.
Yeah, I would say like, up to season 6.
It's
definitely worth watching. and then I'll let you decide what you want to do.
Now they're just no. Latre's fighting himself. All right, never mind.
We're gonna.
Okay, but anywho, but I do like this episode. How there is a lot happening, but dynamics of people and situations that are like going with it worked well. It just to me, I do feel like that the so-called villain to me could have waited maybe another episode. Because I would like to actually just have like more just a grounded pilot and then jump into like maybe him at the end doing something, then go into an episode. That's my little whatever, like my little nitpick of it, but whatever.
Sorry, it's Jensen Ackles. Sorry, I fucked up.
Jensen's not a person's name. That's a car.
I know it, but I looked it up. It is his name. I'm like, okay.
I already messed up once.
Jimmy Jazz. Look. There's your comment.
Josh, I already made one fumble. We're just gonna roll with wrong names.
I would say that was worse than what I did.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no one commented about that. Like, what the fuck?
I'm sorry.
My rating for this is like I'm gonna go with 8 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
All right. Fair.
I feel like me and Josh probably have the highest feelings about the show.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess I would probably give it a 10. Like if for me personally, I'd probably give it a 10. If I'm looking at it like outside of myself as a new person coming in, I'd probably agree with Matt. I'd probably give it an 8. But
Yeah, I agree
me
with that.
personally, and how much the show connects to me, I would give it a 10. So do with that as you will. Next episode, we are going to talk about The Flash and Into the Spider-Verse 2. Hopefully, we have another guest host with us. We'll see what happens with that. We're planning on doing that next week. I mean, I know we have to catch up on some movies. Like Matt and I have to see Spider-Man. Jerry has to see The Flash.
See Flash. We literally just traded movies. I think that's funny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll figure that out. But yeah, that'll be the next episode, and then Jerry's gonna announce his picks for the following episode. So
Yes.
if there's anything else you guys want to add, feel free to do it now. If not, we're just gonna end the episode.
No, I don't have anything else.
I'm good.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. This is Josh from Batyard's Finest, sending you up, and away until next Batyard's Finest episode.
This is Jerry guiding you all with Green Lantern's light.
I'm Superman's pal, Matt.
And we're becoming superpowers one episode at a time.
Always hold on to Smallville. I just wanted
Watch
to
it.
That's yeah. All right, good night.